The following video was recorded on a Friday night in February of 2008, when two men set up cameras in the attic of a house in West Allis, Wisconsin, an unfinished space with exposed rafters and a small wooden chair sitting near the window, the kind of room that already feels unsettling before anything actually happens. As they continue investigating, one of them suddenly captures something barely audible above a whisper, a voice that sounds unmistakably like it says, "Wanna go outside? Watch."
Difference in the roof and the floor. So
56? 70?
No.
Between 50... 70?
No.
Between...
Well, it's like 12:30, and I think that it was about an hour since we heard those footsteps coming through here, but I don't know what that was from. What's our average temperature?
It's about 37, 38.
That's why I'm cold. And I'm getting like a 0.2 all the way through the room.
Wait, it's going to 45. There's 50. Oh, I got a 50.
I got a reading here.
Oh, shit! Okay. I'm out! 45. There's 50. Oh, I got a 50.
I got a reading here.
Oh, shit! Okay. I'm out! There's 50. Oh, I got a 50.
I got a reading here.
Oh, shit! Okay. I'm out! Oh, I got a 50.
I got a reading here.
Oh, shit! Okay. I'm out!
The EMF meter spikes hard, beeping fast and urgent, and before either of them can react, a loud percussive bang tears through the attic with no visible source, and both men are gone from that room in seconds, shouting and scrambling over each other to get out. What makes this one harder to dismiss is the chair. If you slow it down and look at the background footage, the wooden chair near the window violently jolts at the exact moment the bang lands. Not a gradual shift, not a settle, but a sharp, sudden movement, as if something struck it or launched off of it. The chair had nothing sitting on it. The bang itself has no obvious source in any of the angles available. Some investigators who've reviewed similar cases point to the combination of events: EMF spike, temperature drop, unexplained sound, and physical object movement all happening within the same window of time, as consistent with what's sometimes called a poltergeist phenomenon, a category of activity traditionally associated with forceful, attention-seeking presence rather than passive residual energy. Whether something in that attic genuinely wanted them gone or just wanted to remind them it was there, the footage doesn't answer. What would you have done if you were still in that room? This next clip comes from a 2007 stage production of Beauty and the Beast, recorded inside a theater, and for years, the people who worked there had a name for whatever seemed to linger on that stage. They called her Shannon. The footage itself isn't great quality. It's an old recording being played back on a screen, but what happens when the stage lights go down and the fog rolls in is what's kept this clip circulating for years. Watch.
Try and pause it. Oh my God. terrifying. Oh my.
At around the 27-second mark, a faint, whitish-green shape appears floating roughly 8 to 10 feet above the stage floor, vaguely humanoid, semi-transparent, with what looks like a head and torso suspended in the darkness. And if you needed any confirmation that what appeared on screen was genuinely unsettling, the reactions say everything. The group watching erupts, screams, gasps, someone yelling, "Oh my God," another voice just saying, "terrifying." That kind of collective reaction is hard to manufacture. Some think it's a trick of the stage fog, catching a stray light source, while others believe Shannon has been a fixture of that theater long before anyone thought to film her. Whether it's a ghost, a reflection, or something in between, she's been showing up on that stage for a long time now. The following clips all come from the same account, a man who's been documenting what he describes as an ongoing haunting inside his home, and the activity, according to him, has been building steadily. In the first clip, it's late at night when his small dog suddenly jumps onto the back of the couch and starts barking, not playfully, but with the kind of locked, alert attention animals get when something isn't right. He grabs his camera and follows the dog's line of sight toward the front of the house. Watch.
What the hell just happened?
My dog just started fucking barking. Let's see. Holy shit, there's somebody out there. What the fuck?
Through the slats of the window, a tall, dark, humanoid silhouette is standing completely still just outside, and the moment he reacts and pulls the door open, it's gone. The yard is empty, 3 pink flamingo ornaments in the grass, distant city lights, nothing else, no footsteps, no movement, no sign of where it went. For a lot of viewers, the dog's reaction is the detail that's hardest to dismiss. Animals don't perform on cue, and whatever that silhouette was, it was there long enough to be seen and gone fast enough to leave no trace. In the second clip, he sits down to address his audience directly, and what starts as a clarification about his appearance turns into something much heavier. He's a cancer survivor. The disease was in his arm, and between the surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy, he came close to not making it at all. It was during that period, while on a tour of the Queen Mary, that he had his first unexplained experience.
Hey everyone, things have been pretty quiet for a few days now, so I wanted to address some of the comments that I've seen and people wondering about me having one arm. Yeah, I have one arm. It's actually because I'm a cancer survivor, and it was in my arm, so they had to amputate it. And between the radiation and chemo and surgeries, they kind of bring you to the brink of death without actually killing you. I feel like that's where I had my first paranormal experience. During my chemo, I went on a tour of the Queen Mary, and I was in a big group, and we went past this long vacant hallway that was like completely gutted in the interior of the ship, and suddenly I hear boom, 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 and then I turned to the people that were with me, and I was like, did you hear that? And they're like, no, nobody else in the group heard it, just me. And I'm wondering how much that has to do with what's going on now. I'm not sure.
The Queen Mary, docked in Long Beach, California, has one of the most documented paranormal reputations in the country. Decades of reported encounters, multiple full investigations, and a history that includes deaths aboard the ship during its years of service. Some researchers believe the vessel holds residual energy from that history, and others think certain people, particularly those who've been close to death themselves, may be more open to perceiving it. Whether that brush with mortality during his treatment left him more sensitive to whatever this is, he can't say for certain. It's unclear whether he's been followed or whether something was already in the house waiting. Then there's the door cam footage. It's nighttime again, the hallway quiet, and the camera catches a closed wooden door from a low angle when the latch audibly clicks, and the door swings open inward on its own. Watch.
Did somebody open the door?
What makes this particular piece harder to explain is the audio. The latch disengages before the door moves, which rules out a simple draft pushing it. Skeptics will point to pressure differentials or a faulty strike plate, and those aren't unreasonable arguments. But taken alongside the figure in the yard, the dog's alarm, and the history he's now carrying, it starts to feel less like a series of coincidences and more like a pattern building towards something. Whatever is happening in that house seems to know when he's watching and when he's not. The following video was recorded inside what appears to be a basement room late at night, where a woman, off camera, is filming her young daughter, Cheyenne. The little girl, dressed in pink pajamas, is sitting in her walker near the center of the room. She isn't playing. She isn't looking around. She's completely fixated on the dark doorway in front of her, crying and whimpering in a way that sounds less like a tired baby and more like a baby that sees something. The woman calls out to her softly, "Shy," then Cheyenne, trying to pull her attention away. It doesn't work. Watch.
Shy. Cheyenne. Cheyenne. Cheyenne.
What makes this unsettling is how completely focused she remains on that doorway. She doesn't glance toward the camera or respond normally to her mother's voice. Her eyes stay fixed in the same direction while her crying continues as though she's watching something approaching from the darkness. Paranormal believers often point to reactions like this as possible evidence that young children can perceive things adults cannot. The belief is that babies and very young children may be more sensitive to unusual sounds, movements, or even supposed spiritual activity because they haven't yet learned to filter out things that adults automatically ignore. Of course, there are ordinary explanations too. A baby can become intensely focused on a dark doorway because of a sound, shadow, reflection, movement, or something else outside the camera's view. Her reaction alone can't tell us what she was actually seeing, but whatever caught her attention, she never seems to look away from it. This next video follows the same man across two separate moments inside what appears to be his home, and together they paint a picture of a situation that seems to be getting harder to ignore. In the first clip, he's filming his fish tank late at night, a casual moment, completely ordinary, narrating his new additions and asking his viewers for name suggestions. Watch. If you look closely, a hand appears to be resting against the side of the fish tank. He notices it and immediately goes around to check. There's nobody there. The second clip appears to be from a separate night. He mentions it's around 1 a.m., that he's been hearing banging and footsteps on and off for the past several days, and that tonight it started again. He's filming the dark staircase, the kitchen lit behind him, trying to catch whatever keeps waking him up. Listen closely.
Alright guys, so I just thought I'd record a video. I'm home alone. I've been hearing like occasional banging noises every few days. It's quite late at night, it's like about 1 a.m. now. I heard a couple of sort of banging. Sometimes it sounds like footsteps, like in the last 10 minutes. Sorry, my camera by the way keeps defocusing, I'm not sure why, but yeah, I just thought I'd record to just try and like catch any... Fucking hell, man.
Heavy stomps erupt from somewhere just out of frame, forceful enough that they don't sound like a settling house or a pipe shifting. They sound like weight, like something upstairs with size to it. His reaction, an immediate, involuntary shout, is the kind that doesn't come from someone who staged a sound. Skeptics would point to old construction, plumbing, or a neighbor in a shared wall, but he describes this as something that's been building for days, which rules out a one-off noise. For viewers who followed similar cases, a pattern like this, unexplained sounds escalating over time, concentrated near staircases and upper floors, often gets compared to what some call a territorial presence, something that he still hasn't explained what's at the top of those stairs. And honestly, I'm not sure he knows either. The following video was captured at dusk, somewhere over a remote stretch of hilly landscape. The terrain below is dry and rocky, the kind of isolated stretch where you don't expect much of anything to be happening overhead. But something was. Watch. A thin, dark, vertically elongated object hangs completely motionless in the sky above the ridge. No wings, no rotors, no drift. Nothing that explains how it stays there. The person filming zooms in, holds on it, and it doesn't move once, not even slightly. Skeptics have suggested it could be a kite or an unusual balloon, but what's harder to dismiss is the shape. Narrow, rod-like, and perfectly still against a moving, clouded sky. Some viewers call objects like this rods or skyfish, a loose category of aerial anomalies that have appeared in footage for decades without a satisfying explanation. What do you think was hanging over that hill? In this next clip, a woman is conducting a late-night paranormal investigation. Not in an abandoned building or a historic location, but at home, seated across from a large, realistic doll with red curly hair and a wide, frozen smile. The doll's name is Christy, and she's been holding on to her for a while now, long enough to set up a full investigation around her, a REM pod on the floor, an EMF meter flickering between Christy's feet, a spirit box running, and a flashlight placed directly in the doll's inanimate hand. She starts by asking Christy to prove she's present. Watch.
Christy, can you show me you're here right now? Good job. Can you touch your favorite tool? Definitely the REM pod. Can you turn that off? Can you turn it back on? Good job. Can you hold it down in your favorite color, honey? It's black, but you said green. And green, black and green. Wow, that's going really fast. The sweep rate. Were you in the army? You can use these words in this app to communicate anything you want to me. Are you able to piece them together to tell me how you passed away? Ammo? Did somebody SHOOT you? Yeah. Are you 28? Christy, how can I help you? Is there anything you want to tell me right now?
The REM pod responds almost immediately, lighting up and sounding a full alarm. Then the flashlight in the doll's hand turns on, switches off, and turns back on, each time appearing to follow the woman's verbal requests. When the spirit box session begins, the responses start specific. Favorite colors, a direct yes or no exchange, and then something much heavier, what sounds like a confirmation that Christy was shot and died at the age of 21. What makes that harder to dismiss is the moment the woman mentions her own back pain, and the box, seconds later, produces the words, "her back hurts." That's either a remarkable coincidence or something picking up on details it shouldn't have access to. But then the tone shifts entirely. The later responses, interpreted as ammo back, do it, push, don't tell her, suggest something that isn't simply communicating, it's giving instructions. If you focus on the progression of the session, it moves from playful and responsive to something that sounds almost like it's planning something. Skeptics will point to spirit box apps being built around radio frequency sweeps that produce random audio fragments, which the human brain naturally assembles into meaningful patterns, a well-documented phenomenon called apophenia. But the timing of specific responses, especially the back pain moment, is the kind of detail that's difficult to write off cleanly. Some viewers think Christy isn't just haunted, they think whatever is attached to her has been waiting for the right moment to say exactly what it said. What do you do when the doll starts asking for revenge? Now in this next clip, a man is alone at his workplace, a store he's in the middle of closing for the night, when something he can't explain makes physical contact with him. He's been noticing strange activity in the building lately, sounds he can't account for, a feeling that something is present even when the aisles are completely empty. And tonight, it finally pushed past whatever boundary had been keeping it at arm's length. The store is dark except for the artificial glow of the refrigerator displays and the overhead lights, and he's the only person there. Watch.
Oh, no, I just got touched. No. Okay, so I'm here at work. Bro, I'm telling you, you heard that, right? I'm closing. And I'm like hearing stuff, bruh. I'm like closing right now, and I'm hearing, bruh, come on, man. Nobody's in here. I'm literally closing. Yo. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's been like really active here lately. Just wanted to show you guys. There's nobody in the store but me.
Almost immediately, you can hear the panic in his voice as he says he just got touched by something he couldn't see. And as he moves through the aisles with a shaky camera, two separate audio anomalies stand out. A faint, breathy whisper underneath his speech, and later, a sharp, clipped vocalization near the front of the store that he reacts to instantly. The clicking sound from the dark back room is harder to dismiss, too, especially since it stops the moment he checks. Some viewers pointed to the mimic label when describing what they heard, a term used in paranormal communities to describe entities believed to manipulate sound and voice to draw people toward them or provoke reactions. Others went further, calling it demonic, a word that carries weight across multiple belief systems, from early Mesopotamian tradition all the way through modern Christian theology, where demons are understood as entities that act with deliberate intent. The store's security monitors show every corner of the building. Nothing else is in there with him. So what touched him? This next video comes from a man who decided to document what had been happening inside his home late at night. A house that, on the surface, looks completely ordinary. Toys are scattered across the floor, a dining table sits in the center of the room, and a red rocking horse rests quietly in the corner. But before showing the activity itself, he takes a moment to explain why he believes the footage is so difficult to dismiss. He opens the settings for his Xbox Kinect sensor, demonstrating its built-in infrared camera and depth sensing technology, showing that even in complete darkness, it can map the room with remarkable clarity. His point is simple: if someone were standing in the room, the camera should be able to detect them. Watch.
Hey you guys, I just wanted to show you guys a pretty quick feature of the Xbox One and its Kinect. It actually has a pretty cool night vision that I just found today. And if you guys already know it has night vision, then I'm going to show the people who don't know. So right now it's completely dark in this house right now. All you can basically see is my Xbox One controller. Now I'm going to switch on the night vision for you guys. As you can see, it lights up the whole room. It's actually a pretty cool feature. I don't know if they have an app for this or whatnot, but they also have this version of the camera. I don't know what it is. I think it's either infrared or something like that. And then back to dark. As you can see, all you can see is my Xbox controller. And then back to night vision. It's actually, pretty cool feature for the Xbox Kinect that I haven't really heard of until now. Maybe they have an app for it or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching.
If you look closely toward the right side of the screen, a dark, human-shaped figure appears to lean out from behind the wall, as though quietly watching him. It remains visible for only a brief moment before withdrawing back into the darkness. The figure has become the focus of the clip. Some viewers believe it's simply a shadow created by the Kinect's infrared imaging, or a distortion caused by the depth sensor struggling in low light. Others argue the movement is too deliberate, comparing it to reports of shadow figures, dark, humanoid forms frequently described in paranormal accounts as silently observing people before disappearing. While there is no scientific evidence supporting such claims, shadow apparitions remain one of the most commonly reported phenomena in alleged haunting cases. The second recording takes the investigation even further. This time, he's moving through the house alone, repeatedly calling out for someone named Alvin as he searches each room. At first, he sounds more annoyed than frightened, but that changes almost immediately. Around 12 seconds into the recording, a children's toy begins playing a slow melody entirely on its own from somewhere in the dark living room. He follows the sound until he spots a single flashing orange light. Before he can even reach it, a second toy suddenly activates across the room, playing a completely different tune. Now 2 toys are operating at the same time. He calls Alvin's name again. No answer. He checks the kitchen, the hallway, a closed bedroom door, even the garage. The house appears to be empty. Watch.
Get weird as shit. Alvin. Fuck. Where's that shit? This fucking shit ain't funny anymore, man. Alvin. Shit ain't funny, man. Alvin. Hey, bro. What the fuck? Oh shit. Oh the fuck.
Skeptics point out that battery-powered toys are known to activate unexpectedly. Failing batteries, faulty wiring, moisture, pressure switches, and motion sensors can all cause electronic toys to turn on without anyone touching them. Those who believe the house may be haunted see something more significant. In paranormal folklore, children's toys are often reported as alleged trigger objects, items said to respond during periods of unexplained activity because of their lights, sounds, or perceived connection to youthful energy. There is no evidence supporting that belief, but it has become a recurring theme in countless haunting reports. Whether the toys malfunctioned or whether something unseen was moving through that living room, the image that lingers isn't the music. It's that brief, silent figure peeking around the corner, watching him long before the toys ever began to play. This next clip comes from Brazil, recorded late at night by a man who woke up in his darkened living room to something that immediately unsettled him. According to him, he'd been sleeping in the room with his girlfriend, and he woke up hearing her voice calling to him, except when he grabbed his phone and started recording, she was right there on the couch, completely asleep, covered in a comforter, their dog curled up beside her. She hadn't said a word. Listen closely.
Que porra é essa, mano?
Vem cá.
Que porra é essa?
Amor.
What you hear is a faint, whispery female voice coming from the dark corner near the wall, twice. First it says, "Come here," and then, after he pans back to confirm his girlfriend is still asleep, it says, "Love," no visible source, no one else in the room. Some believe this is a classic example of a spirit mimicking someone close to the witness, a behavior often described in accounts of attachment entities, something that calls to you using a familiar voice, something it knows you'll respond to. Others think it could be an auditory hallucination, triggered by waking suddenly in the dark. But the second whisper is harder to dismiss. It waited until he looked away. Now, in this next clip, a woman filming from what appears to be an upper floor window in a residential area captures something on a bright, sunny day that she can't explain. The weather is clear, the street below is ordinary. Parked cars, brick buildings, a leafless tree catching the afternoon light. Nothing about the scene suggests anything unusual, but as she zooms in on the building across the street, she spots something that stops her cold. Watch.
I'm like fucking scared. There is no one standing there, but there's a silhouette, like a shadow of a person. Yeah.
There on the lower brick wall of the building, a sharp, fully formed human shadow is cast in perfect silhouette, a distinct head, torso, and legs, with nothing in the sunlit area in front of it that could account for it. No person standing there, no object, just a shadow with no source. She says it herself, frightened. There is no one standing there. Shadow figures appearing in daylight are actually among the more unsettling reports in paranormal folklore. Unlike night sightings, sunlight eliminates the usual explanations. What cast that shadow? The following video was recorded by a family stepping into their new house for the very first time. The father is holding the camera, slowly documenting their first walk through the home as the rest of the family heads inside ahead of him. Everything appeared perfectly ordinary until viewers noticed something that was out of place. Watch.
Okay. Got everybody here. Heading on into the new house for the first time. They said go. Yeah. See how scary? It's kind of scary, actually. Oh, look at all this stuff. Dollhouse for you, Salo. Go. Okay. This kitchen's pretty nice.
Ready? I'm gonna go out with Mom.
Go close the door.
If you focus on the mirror by your right, you'll notice what looks like a dark, human-shaped shadow standing directly behind him. The unsettling part is that it can't be one of his daughters. By the time the reflection appears, both girls have already walked past the mirror and are standing farther inside the house. There shouldn't be anyone behind him. But what many viewers found even more disturbing wasn't the shadow. It was the youngest girl. Without anyone prompting her, she repeatedly says, "Scary," over and over again. Some dismissed it as exactly what children do in unfamiliar places. New houses can feel intimidating, especially when they're empty, dimly lit, and full of echoes. Others believe moments like this deserve a closer look. As for the mirror itself, mirrors have long occupied a unique place in supernatural folklore. Some traditions describe them as symbolic thresholds or reflective surfaces where unexplained figures are more likely to appear, while others view them simply as objects capable of creating convincing visual illusions under low lighting. Whether the shadow was a trick of perspective, a reflection the family didn't notice, or something that greeted them before they even unpacked. One detail remains difficult to ignore. Before anyone mentioned seeing a figure, the little girl had already decided there was something about that house she didn't like. The following video was recorded by a man living in what can only be described as a house full of unsettling objects. Mannequins in the hallway, antique dolls, vintage horror movie posters, and at the center of it all, a Victorian dollhouse sitting in his sister's room that he says he genuinely cannot bring himself to look at for too long. He walks through the space at night, narrating as he goes, and you can hear in his voice that this isn't performance, it's discomfort. He's been hearing tapping sounds late at night, specifically when he passes that room on the way to the bathroom, and according to him, the sound stops the moment he enters, except for one night about 3 nights prior, when it kept going. He walked in, tried to find the source, and traced it directly to the dollhouse itself. Watch.
Okay, so the other thing that really creeps me out, that I do not like, but I will show you guys, is in my sister's old room, or I guess still room. Dollhouse. I don't know how to explain it. The only thing I can say that has happened with it is sometimes when I walk by, or like I go, the bathroom's back there, and I walk through and I hear like tapping coming from this room. It's like it's like yeah, it's like I know it's coming from like this room, and so I come in here and then it usually stops, except for like maybe 3 nights ago, like the tapping kept happening, and I came over and I was trying to figure out like where it was coming from, but it was coming from this dollhouse and I don't know where, and it hasn't done it since. Like, why is it so intricate? It's like, I don't know. Freaks me out. I'm not showing you guys this again, so take one last look. Yeah. Fuck that thing.
Toward the end of the recording, some viewers also claimed they could hear what sounded like a faint young girl's voice buried beneath the audio. Whether it's genuine audio pareidolia or simply background noise is impossible to say, but combined with the tapping, it only added to the unease. Some viewers also pointed to the collection of dolls visible throughout the house. In parts of West Africa and the Caribbean, handcrafted dolls have historically been associated, rightly or wrongly, with folk magic and spiritual practices. While most are simply decorative or cultural artifacts, their appearance often fuels speculation whenever they're seen alongside alleged paranormal activity. But according to the family, the dollhouse wasn't the only thing making them uneasy. Watch.
This is my daughter, Lady Mary Talk. Oh, everybody. same to you as the rest of us in the Riviera. But I hope you enjoy yourself. Yes.
Okay. I've been thinking about
I went over to America 10 years ago to try my luck, and I've been there ever since. Nearly gone. They call us the Hollywood Rise.
But you never stopped saying it. You know that.
Last time I was there.
Heavy footsteps echo from somewhere inside the house, the kind of impact that sounds as though someone has just put their full weight onto a wooden floor. But there's no visible cause. Nothing falls, nothing moves, nothing in the wide-angle security footage gives her or anyone watching any kind of answer. So what exactly hit that hard? From inside a house, with no one else apparently there, you decide. Now in this next clip, a man who works at what appears to be an industrial facility decided to stay late one night. Not because he had to, but because something about the place kept pulling him back. He'd already noticed things before this recording. His radio had been jumping with static, which he says is usually a sign that something is close, and the temperature in the break room had dropped noticeably enough to stop him in his tracks. He's wearing work gloves, holding his camera, and his voice is raspy and low as he moves through a long fluorescent-lit hallway and into one of the facility's break rooms, a cluttered industrial space with metal lockers, stainless steel countertops, and trash bags piled against the walls. He admits out loud that he's nervous. He can feel something in there with him, and then he notices his Apple Watch.
Whoa. Shit. Just saw my Apple move. Just saw him move. Oh. What do you want? Who are you? Oh. What does this mean? What do you want? Why are you playing games? Why did you attack me the other day? What do you want?
First the apple, then the cup begins moving by itself, while he continues trying to communicate with whatever he believes is around him. To paranormal investigators, this sequence is particularly intriguing because the movement appears to follow direct interaction. In many alleged haunting cases, investigators believe that attempting communication can sometimes trigger a response, especially if the reported activity is associated with an intelligent haunting rather than a residual one. Objects moving shortly after questions are asked are often interpreted as attempts at non-verbal communication, with some researchers suggesting that small, lightweight items are easier for an alleged entity to manipulate than larger objects. Another detail, often mentioned in paranormal circles, is the combination of experiences leading up to the movements. Sudden cold spots, unexplained radio interference, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched are among the most commonly reported claims preceding alleged physical manifestations, although none have been scientifically shown to indicate paranormal activity. But viewers who believe something unusual happened focus on one thing. The apple moves, he starts talking, then the cup moves too. Whether that was a coincidence or something responding to the conversation is exactly what keeps this clip open to debate. This next video comes from a man who says something got into his shed while he was away, and whatever it was, it didn't just leave quietly. He's been filming himself outside at night, shaky camera pointed upward into dark tree branches, voice already strained before he's even made it through the door. According to him, he'd noticed something off when he first pulled up, and by the time he walked inside, what he found had him spiraling. Watch. The CCTV footage shows the shed door closed. Then, across a 5-second gap in the recording, it's sitting open by several inches with nothing on camera to explain it. No figure, no gust, no visible contact. And when he finally walks in and turns the light on, the shed is ransacked. Tools, clothing, and a power sander thrown into disorder. But what frightened him most wasn't the mess. It was what happened when he went back inside for a closer look. Watch. If you look closely, you'll notice what appears to be a pale face peering from inside the shed. Some viewers dismissed it as pareidolia, the brain's tendency to see faces in random shapes, especially in dark, cluttered environments. Others weren't convinced. Across paranormal folklore, one of the most commonly reported experiences is the peeking apparition, an alleged entity that reveals only part of its face from behind a doorway, corner, or object before disappearing again. Paranormal researchers often describe these brief appearances as observational behavior, claiming the figure seems more interested in watching than interacting directly. Whether that's what this camera captured, or whether the face is nothing more than shadow and coincidence. One unsettling question remains: if something really was hiding inside that shed, what was it waiting for him to do next? This next video was recorded by a man filming from what appears to be his backyard at night. A dark, scrub-covered hillside stretching out in front of him. And from the very beginning, something on that hillside has already caught his attention. He's been insisting that whatever this is, it's been following him. Not just to one location, but everywhere he goes. And standing there in the dark, camera in hand, you can hear in his voice that he's well past the point of brushing it off. Watch.
I can't make this shit up. I can't make this shit up, bro. What the I can't make this shit up, bro. I can't make this shit up, bro. What the is that? Jesus Christ, no. Jesus Christ, no. What? I can't make this shit up, bro.
Out on that hillside, a bright glowing orb sits completely still at first, white-yellow on the outside, but with a distinct purple or violet core pulsing inside it. As he zooms in, that inner light shifts shape, momentarily forming something almost structured, almost like a letter or symbol, before the whole thing begins sliding horizontally to the left, leaving a faint trail behind it. And then, just like that, it vanishes. The hillside goes dark. His reaction says everything, stunned silence, then a rising panic he can barely keep together. Some viewers immediately thought of ball lightning, a rare atmospheric phenomenon that can produce glowing, drifting orbs. But ball lightning doesn't typically hold a distinct internal color or leave shaped impressions. Others pointed to UAP sightings, noting that the pulsing purple core and horizontal drift are consistent with characteristics reported in several well-documented cases. What do you think was on that hillside? This next video was recorded at around 11:30 at night by a woman who had just gotten home and noticed something immediately off. Her bathroom light was on inside the house, even though she was almost certain she'd left it off. She went in, switched it off herself, watched some TV, and thought nothing more of it. Then she stepped outside to check the mail. That's when she stopped. Something made her turn back toward the house and pull out her phone. Watch.
just need to show you what's actually happening right now. Like, this is so creepy. I have no idea. Oh, it stopped. It's been... Like, nobody is in my house, and that should not be happening. And no one believes me when I tell them this kind of stuff.
The bathroom window, visible from the driveway, flickers on, then off, then on again, then dark, with no one inside operating the switch. She's standing right there in the driveway, in the pitch black, telling you directly, nobody is home, and that light should not be doing that. But many viewers noticed something even stranger than the light itself. If you look closely at the window, there appears to be the faint outline of what looks like a young girl standing motionless, facing directly toward the woman filming. The shape doesn't seem to move, it simply watches. Reports of flickering lights are among the most commonly described experiences in alleged hauntings, though faulty wiring, loose switches, and electrical fluctuations remain far more common explanations. The apparent figure in the window has sparked even more debate. Some believe it's nothing more than reflections on the glass or pareidolia, the brain interpreting shadows and patterns as a human face. Others compare it to reports of window watchers, a recurring motif in paranormal accounts where an unexplained figure is said to silently observe people from inside a home without ever approaching. Whether rooted in folklore or coincidence, these reports often describe the figure as remaining perfectly still, creating the unsettling impression that it's watching rather than trying to be seen. So was the flickering light simply an electrical fault? Did the changing light create the illusion of a face? Or was someone or something standing behind that window after all? That's the question this footage leaves unanswered. The following videos were captured by a woman who's been documenting what she calls her poltergeist diaries, a series of increasingly unsettling encounters happening at her workplace, an office she now refers to as anything but ordinary. She'd been sharing updates with her followers, building a record of small, creeping strangeness, and in this first clip, she's filming late, alone, moving through the building with her phone out when she notices something down the hallway near the break room. Watch.
So, y'all have been following my polter diaries here lately. So I'm pretty sure there's something standing in the doorway to the break room. Am I crazy? Or is that somebody standing there? Do y'all see that?
The camera peers around the edge of a dark, reflective surface and catches a tall, thin shape standing completely still at the far end of the dimly lit hallway, and her reaction says everything. Her voice drops from calm narration to a terrified whisper before she lets out a raw, piercing scream and the footage cuts off. Whether that shape was a chair, a pedestal, or something else entirely, her scream wasn't performed. Some viewers insisted it was just office furniture catching the light wrong, while others pointed out that the object doesn't have the softened edges or visible legs you'd expect from a chair. It just stands there, occupying the frame like it belongs. That's what makes it hard to dismiss. Not long after that clip circulated, followers began asking whether the lights in that hallway were connected to anything, wondering if she'd somehow triggered them herself. She came back with a direct answer. Watch.
So, since y'all thought I was doing the lights, let me show you these. This one does nothing. This one turns on this extra light. So,
she flips both switches on the wall, one by one, demonstrating clearly that neither controls the bright stationary light glowing in the dark hallway behind her. The fluorescent ceiling lights respond to the second switch, but that orb-like light sits untouched, unchanging, against the dark blue wall. Some viewers immediately suggested it was a security light or an exit sign on a separate circuit. Others weren't convinced, pointing out that the light's intensity and position don't match anything typically mounted in an office corridor, and that she didn't seem to know what it was either, ending the clip with a flat, exhausted "so," as if the demonstration raised more questions than it answered. She'd also mentioned she'd stopped working alone in that building after everything that happened, which brings us to her next update. She returned to the office with a coworker, hoping the company would make whatever was happening stop. Everything had been quiet. Watch.
Hey guys, this is just an update to let you all know that I'm okay. I'm back at work today, but I'm no longer working by myself. I have someone here with me. Everything's been fine so far. We haven't had anything today, so... And here we go. What was that? What? It came from the hallway. Oh my god. No. Oh my god.
Right in the middle of her calm update, mid-sentence in fact, an explosively loud bang erupts from the hallway, violent and metallic, and both women react instantly. She moves toward the doorway and peers down the long, empty, brightly lit corridor. Nothing, no one, no visible source for a sound that loud. Two people heard the same thing, and neither of them could explain it. Some researchers who study poltergeist activity describe this kind of escalation, from visual anomalies to unexplained sounds, as a pattern of intensifying engagement, as though whatever presence exists in a space begins responding more forcefully when it feels observed. What would you do if the hallway you just cleared came back that loud? Now, in this next clip, a man is moving through his house at night, phone in hand, when the space around him starts doing things that have no easy explanation. It's unclear exactly what brought him to this part of the house, but from the moment he pushes shut a large panel on the wall, something shifts in the energy of the place, and it doesn't stop there. Almost immediately after that panel slams shut with a loud bang, something catches his attention. Watch. A soccer ball rolls across the floor completely on its own. He barely has time to process that before panning down a long, dark hallway where a small, pale figure in a white gown steps out from the corner. The moment he sees it, he hears a high-pitched, distorted child's laugh that sounds just slightly off from anything natural. Many investigators warn that childlike apparitions aren't always what they seem. Some believe darker entities imitate children, because people instinctively lower their guard around them, making the encounter feel less threatening, at least at first. Despite every instinct telling him to leave, he walks toward the figure, which, if you ask most people, is the last thing you should do. When he reaches the first door and tries the handle, it's locked, and the moment he pulls his hand back, a deep, grating, scraping sound erupts from somewhere unseen, and the video cuts off. Across countless paranormal reports, investigators describe this as escalation, subtle movement giving way to visual manifestations, then direct interaction intended to provoke fear or curiosity. Whether that's what happened here is impossible to prove, but one thing is hard to ignore. Whatever was waiting at the end of that hallway never actually came toward him. It got him to come to it. Quick thing before we continue, all of our videos are now available on Spotify too, so if that's somewhere you already find yourself late at night, every compilation we've made is waiting there for you. Whichever way you'd rather watch, the link's in the description. Now back to the video. The following video is about a man who lives on 300 acres of swampland in a place called Dinsmore, land his family bought cheap from a paper mill that operated in the 1800s, land that he claims was originally stolen from Native Americans and sits directly on top of an old burial ground. According to him, he's not the only one who believes something is wrong out there. He says local police officers will draw straws to avoid responding to calls on the property, and when they do show up, they won't set foot past the property line. That detail alone is hard to shake, but it's what happened to him the previous night that sent him outside in the dark, bare-chested and terrified, phone in hand. He says he walked off the porch to check on the chickens when he heard two things. First, someone calling his name, and then a voice saying, "Help me," from somewhere in the darkness. Watch.
Yo, I just walked off the porch and I came out here to check on the chickens. I just heard, first off, I heard my name. Second off, it sounded like somebody was saying, "Help me." Hold on.
What you hear coming out of that blackness is a clear, disembodied male voice, distinct, intelligible, calling out, "Hey," then "Help," then "I need help," then the name Derek, and finally, "Can you help me?" There's no figure visible, no source, just open darkness and that pleading voice drifting in from the trees. Some viewers immediately thought of a classic piece of folklore, sometimes called the Dark Call. The idea that certain malevolent entities will lure people away from safety by mimicking distress, using familiar names or cries for help to draw someone deeper into the woods. Others think it's entirely possible a real person was out there, maybe someone from the abandoned trailer, a quarter-mile onto the land that he mentions people frequently break into. Skeptics have both explanations to choose from, but the fact that the voice knew his name is the part that's difficult to talk around. The following morning, he sat down and laid out the full context. Watch.
So last night was insane. I told you, look, I live on 300 acres of swampland. Just a little background for everybody. 300 acres of swampland. We bought it for a penny an acre from the paper mill that was here back in the 1800s. The paper mill stole it from the Native Americans. Everything everything is built around out here is on top of Indian burial ground. So I'm not the only one to have had this experience. Other people have had these experiences. You could just talk to the local people here in Dinsmore. They've had the same experiences out here. In fact, it's so bad. Police officers will draw straws or argue about who has to come down here when something happens. My family used to be crazy. Used a lot of drinking, drug use, and just abuse and stuff like that. So cops would be out here all the time, but they would not come on the property. They will only meet you at the end of the property. That's how fucking scary it is out here. So today we're going to investigate. I still think that crackheads wandered up from the property. It is about a quarter of a mile into the property, but that doesn't mean anything. We get crackheads, heroin addicts, whatever. They're the new crackheads, meth addicts, they're the new crackheads. We get them out here all the time trying to steal stuff because we used to run a business out here. So I'm going to investigate a trailer that's on the edge of the property today to see that they steal out of all the time. They stole the copper out of it. They busted the windows out of it. So we're going to go see inside that trailer if there's any evidence of anybody staying in it or anything like that. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Peace.
He describes the property as deeply haunted, says the paranormal activity is so severe that even seasoned local officers refuse to enter, and admits that his own first theory is that it might have been trespassers, possibly people staying in that abandoned trailer on the land. So that same day, he decided to go take a look.
Okay, so we are out here exactly where everybody said this thing was standing. This is the spot right here. Directly at this spot. There's the track. I see no footprints. So this is the exact spot right here, guys. The chickens in the background. So I don't know. This is in this area right here is where it was standing. Is where everybody said it was standing. I couldn't see it while standing just about over there. There we go. And so we keep this stuff like this locked. We keep stuff like this locked because, like I said, crackheads. Let's check to make sure it's locked. Door's locked. This is the trailer that I was worried about. Did you fucking see that, bro? Look, I'm telling. Okay, we're just gonna peek in. Oh my, what the fuck? There's walking around in this bro. Hello? So we're gonna have to climb in this. Probably should have brought my gun. Hello? Heard that shit. Hold up, man. It's happening all around me right now. Like it's the worst that it's ever been.
The research context around Dinsmore notes that the area has a long history of paranormal folklore and unexplained phenomena, and the most famous incident dates back to 1897, suggesting that whatever people believe is out there has been talked about for well over a century. Whether the voice in the dark was a person, something mimicking one, or something else entirely that this land has carried since long before his family ever bought it, no one knows. But what do you think? This next video was recorded on January 4th of 2026 by a hospital security guard working a night shift on the second floor of a medical facility, a floor that houses the ICU and a family waiting area. He'd been called up earlier for an emergency, and once that was handled, he decided to walk back down the hall toward the hospital chapel, a room he'd heard about from co-workers who swore strange things happened there regularly, though he'd personally never witnessed anything himself, and that was about to change. Watch.
So we are on the second floor now. Got to be a little quiet up here because so the ICU is actually right in front of me is family waiting. Hey, what's up, Richard? Hey, how you doing? And right to the right is he's went back in the room. Hold up. I was gonna say that right next to family waiting is the chapel. I was gonna come in here anyway because people say that crazy things happen here all the time, but I'd never experienced anything, so I figured why not try? And of course, nothing's happening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit right here and just wait. Holy hell, that scared the hell out of me. Oh, my heart is racing. Is that my shadow? Do y'all see a shadow on the wall, or is that just me? Oh, I gotta get the hell up out of here. shit, and like I'm sweating now.
After sharing the footage, the guard revealed another detail that immediately caught people's attention. Long before it became part of the ICU, that entire floor had reportedly served as the hospital's psychiatric ward. According to staff members, one story has circulated for years. Several employees have claimed that a young child occasionally appears in the corridor, approaching people with a simple question. "Will you play with me?" They also describe the child carrying, or asking for, a small red ball. The image of a ghostly child with a red ball has become one of the most enduring motifs in modern paranormal reports. Investigators often note that toys, especially brightly colored balls, are frequently associated with alleged child hauntings because they're commonly used during investigations as so-called trigger objects, items believed by some to encourage interaction. Whether that's because of expectation, coincidence, or something genuinely unexplained remains a matter of debate. BC others believe the legend may have grown over time, passed from one generation of hospital staff to the next, until every unexplained sound or glimpse in the hallway became linked to the same story. Still, hospitals have long been places where folklore thrives. Decades of intense emotion, grief, hope, and loss naturally give rise to stories that linger long after the people involved are gone. Whether the guard captured evidence of the child his co-workers had described, or simply experienced an eerie coincidence in an old hospital, one question remains. If you heard a child's voice asking you to play in an empty hospital corridor after midnight, would you answer? The following video was recorded on the evening of April 25th of 2004 at 6:39 p.m., somewhere in a rural hillside location. In the video, a man with a camcorder caught sight of something hovering in the dusk sky that stopped him cold, something he clearly hadn't expected to find, while standing out in a field where the only other sound was the distant clanking of livestock bells. You can hear the shock in his voice immediately, that genuine, unscripted panic of someone who doesn't know what they're looking at and knows it. He keeps trying to hold the camera steady, but his hands won't cooperate. Watch.
Cago en la madre que lo parió. ¿Qué es eso? Fíjate. Joder, aquí no hay trucaje, esto es la hostia, ¿eh? Mira, desaparece y vuelve. Mira otro. Ahí hay otro que está dando, mira, mira.
What he's filmed are three luminous, face-like objects hovering against the pale evening sky, each one with two dark markings above a distinct red horizontal band, giving them an almost cartoonish, mask-like appearance that somehow makes them more unsettling, not less. A second object appears beside the first without warning, and then a third is found hovering low near the tree line of the hillside, closer and more defined than the others. Some viewers believe these are orbs or interdimensional craft exhibiting structured, intelligent form. The consistent face pattern across all three objects is the detail that keeps coming back in discussions. Others argue they're atmospheric plasma phenomena or lens artifacts amplified by the digital zoom. But skeptics have a harder time explaining the third object near the tree line, which holds its shape more clearly than the others against a darker background. The year also matters here. 2004, consumer camcorder footage. No easy digital compositing for most people. If you focus on the moment the second object simply appears with no approach, no trajectory, it's just there. So what were they? In this next clip, a group of teenage guys are spending what starts out as a quiet night outside, hanging out in the yard, relaxing in the hammock, ukulele music drifting through the dark, when something in the distance pulls their attention in a direction none of them expected. It's the kind of footage that's been circulating in paranormal communities for a while now, partly because of how it starts, and partly because of how fast everything falls apart once they see it. There's no build-up to warn them. One moment the night is calm, and the next, it isn't. Watch.
How was that?
What?
Hold up. Dude, is that a person?
We should probably.
Close it, please lock it, oh my god.
Fucking lock that shit, dude.
Dude, okay.
I think we left someone's phone up there.
Yeah, we left someone.
It was funny.
It doesn't matter. Bro, we'll get it later.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's scary. Get back. Oh my god, fuck. What the fuck is
Is the side door locked?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Holy shit.
So I'll go check if the side door's locked.
Wait, Nick, did you lock the door?
Did you lock it? Did you lock this door? I don't want to get close to the door. Holy crap.
Fuck, make sure it's locked.
No, make sure it's locked. Okay.
That is creepy as hell.
Dude.
What the fuck is that, dude?
This has like fucking weird energy. What the fuck is that? Dude, it's going on. Oh, it's going around.
Look over here.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Wait, is the door locked?
Yes,
is the door locked? Is it out there? Dude, it's over there. Oh my.
Is the garage door closed?
Oh my god, what the fuck is that?
Dude.
Oh my god. Go.
What starts as a single pulsating red light in the pitch-black yard becomes something far harder to explain. First one pair of glowing red eyes, then a thin, dark silhouette attached to them, moving with a swaying, unnatural rhythm that doesn't match anything you'd expect from a person. Then the appendages appear, multiple limbs, each tipped with its own red glow, and then more eyes emerge from the surrounding darkness, flanking the first figure. Many believe this is either a short horror film shot in found footage style or an ARG, an alternate reality game where the line between fiction and real experience is intentionally blurred. ARGs have been used for years as a way to create immersive horror narratives, and some of the most well-known paranormal-seeming content online has turned out to be exactly that. Planned, written, and performed, but designed to feel like something that actually happened to someone. Others, though, think the creature design pulls from something older, a figure with hollow red eyes, unnaturally thin, moving in ways the body shouldn't be able to. Tracks closely with descriptions of what some traditions call a flesh gate, a modern term used in paranormal communities to describe entities that mimic the shape of a person without quite getting it right. Staged or not, the image of that thing standing motionless in the dark room, staring directly at the camera, is the kind of visual that tends to stay with you. So, real encounter, horror short, or something in between? What do you think that thing actually was? In this next clip, two women are filming outside at dusk near what appears to be a small shrine or spirit house, the kind you'd find across Southeast Asia, placed to honor local spirits. and keep the land at peace. The location looks like Malaysia or Indonesia, and the low light gives everything that deep, almost unnatural blue tone that smartphone cameras produce at night. One woman pans slowly across the sandy ground, past trees and a thin metal post, moving toward the corner of a white wall. And that's when she sees it. Watch. A small, dark shape clings to the surface of the wall, vaguely humanoid, with what looks like a head and limbs, pressed flat against the white paint. Many believe what she captured was a toil, a small childlike spirit from Malay and Indonesian folklore, said to be kept by those practicing black magic and often described as a dark, clinging figure. Others aren't sure, pointing out the low light and motion blur. But whatever it was ugly enough to send her running. This next video comes from a residential security camera, a Nest doorbell camera mounted on a covered porch, pointed out toward the street late at night. For weeks, according to the homeowner, this camera had been triggering motion alerts at odd hours, notifications going off at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., with no obvious explanation for what set them off. Each time they'd check the app, the footage would show exactly what you're about to see. Watch. If you concentrate on the left side of the screen, you'll notice what appears to be something slowly slithering across the yard. It doesn't move like a person, and from this distance it's difficult to tell exactly what it is. In paranormal folklore, reports occasionally describe shadow entities or serpentine apparitions, dark, crawling forms said to move unnaturally close to the ground before vanishing from sight. While there is no scientific evidence that such entities exist, similar descriptions have appeared in eyewitness accounts for decades, particularly in videos recorded at night, where the source of the movement can't be clearly identified. Whether it was an ordinary animal briefly crossing the yard, a trick created by the camera's infrared sensor, or something that kept returning night after night just long enough to trigger the motion alerts. The homeowner never did figure out what kept passing through the edge of the frame. In this next clip, a woman is walking the exterior of what she identifies as the Murphy House in Carmel, a large old stone manor with a steeply pitched roof, ivy-covered walls, and the kind of quiet that comes from years of neglect. She's filming as she goes, narrating in a casual, almost admiring tone, talking about how beautiful the place must have been in its day. The house looks completely deserted, no signs of life anywhere. Watch.
Look what I found. This is in Carmel. This great old house. Someone told me that it's the Murphy house. I don't know who the Murphys were, but I don't think they've lived here for a while because it looks pretty deserted. But it must have been gorgeous in its day. It's absolutely, I could just imagine walking around here in some fancy dress or something, and just amazing. It's just beautiful.
As the camera pans slowly past a second-story dormer window, something is standing inside. A small, dark, humanoid figure, motionless, positioned as if looking out, visible for just a moment before the camera moves on. She doesn't seem to notice it at all. That's what makes it harder to dismiss. Some viewers think it's a doll or a decorative mannequin left behind by former residents, but others find it strange that something would be placed in an upstairs window of an otherwise empty house, facing outward, as if waiting to be seen. What do you think it was? This next clip was recorded inside a hospital room at St. Paul's Hospital in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, a facility that's been in operation since 1894 and has long had a reputation among staff for strange activity in its corridors and wards. Whoever recorded this was a patient or visitor, filming the room during the day, bright light filtering through the window blind, while medical equipment hummed steadily in the background. Nothing about the room looked wrong at first. Just a bedside dresser, a few supplies, a blue Gatorade bottle sitting among them. Then something on that bottle caught their attention. Watch. During the second zoom, if you look closely at the curved upper surface of the bottle, you can make out a dark, slender, humanoid figure reflected in it, silhouetted against the window light, standing completely still. Some think it's nothing more than a distorted reflection of an object in the room. Others aren't so sure, pointing out that what's reflected looks distinctly upright and shaped like a person. Shadow people, dark humanoid figures reported across cultures for centuries, are among the most commonly described paranormal encounters in hospitals specifically. What was standing in that room? This next clip was filmed at night outside a Star Mart, somewhere in a Spanish-speaking region, where a crowd had already gathered along the roadside before whoever shot this even arrived. Something was being transported on a red flatbed truck, something large enough that people had stopped their cars, pulled out their phones, and started shouting over each other just to get a better look. The energy in the crowd isn't fear exactly. It's the kind of loud, chaotic excitement that comes when people see something they genuinely can't explain. Watch. If you focus on the roadway just after the truck passes, you'll notice what appears to be a man suddenly standing in the middle of the road. He doesn't seem to walk into frame from either side. Instead, he appears almost instantly, as though he stepped out from the narrow gap between the passing trucks, or from somewhere that shouldn't have been physically possible. That's the moment that has left viewers divided. Some believe it's simply a trick of perspective. The moving truck temporarily blocks the camera's view, allowing someone already on the opposite side to emerge at precisely the right moment, creating the illusion that they materialized out of nowhere. Others aren't convinced. In paranormal circles, sudden human-shaped appearances like this are sometimes described as phantom pedestrians or crisis apparitions, figures that seem to manifest briefly before disappearing just as quickly, often on roads or busy highways. What makes this clip so difficult to dismiss is how little time there is to process it. One moment the road is empty, the next, there's what appears to be someone standing exactly where the truck had just been moments before. Was it simply a man hidden from view by the passing vehicles? Or did the camera capture something that wasn't there until it suddenly was? People are still slowing the footage down frame by frame, and many still can't agree on what they're actually looking at. Now, in this next clip, a woman is sitting at a table enjoying what she describes as the best brigadeiro of her life, a late Mother's Day treat from a local dessert shop, when something she didn't notice in the moment makes its way into the footage. She's relaxed, cheerful, talking directly to the camera as she unwraps a small gift that came along with her order, a compact mirror. Nothing about her energy suggests anything is off. Watch.
Gente, eu vou comer com vocês o melhor brigadeiro da vida, que é da doceria da Lulu. E olha que bonitinho que eu ganhei no Dia das Mães atrasado, mas ela me deu. É um espelhinho de bolo, deixa eu abrir e mostrar. Olha, que lindo. Deixa eu abrir. Ai, meu Deus. Amei. E agora vamos provar. Eu sou, tipo assim, viciada nesse brigadeiro dela. É simplesmente o melhor brigadeiro que eu já comi na minha vida. Nossa, gente. É muito bom. Muito bom.
As she flips the mirror open, for just a fraction of a second, a handful of frames, easy to miss in real time, something pale and vaguely face-shaped appears in the mirror. Whatever was in that mirror, she genuinely didn't see it in the moment. Some viewers immediately pointed to the idea of mirror spirits, a concept that appears across multiple traditions and cultures, the belief that reflective surfaces can briefly reveal things from outside our visible range, entities that exist just at the edge of what we can perceive. Skeptics, on the other hand, argue it's a simple case of pareidolia, the brain finding a face in an abstract smear of light and shadow. A few frames of ambiguity, but if you slow it down and look closely at that reflection, something is looking back. What do you think it was? The following clips come from what appears to be an ongoing series of recordings made inside the same home. A lived-in apartment with children's drawings on the walls, toys scattered on the floor, and a security camera running through the night. According to the person behind the camera, the activity has been escalating across multiple incidents, and he's been documenting each one. In the first clip, he's decided to investigate a disturbance in the dark, despite his wife warning him not to. He gets out of bed, moves through the house with his phone as a light source, checks a wardrobe, finds nothing out of the ordinary, but the security camera feed running in the corner of the frame tells a different story. Watch.
Shh. Let me just check. It's coming from the cupboard. Could you please stop?
According to the family, the knocking had become so common that they eventually started speaking to whatever was causing it. At one point, the husband reportedly asked it politely to stop. Instead of quieting down, the knocking grew louder and more aggressive, leading some viewers to speculate that whatever was behind the sounds seemed to react to being acknowledged. Another night, the disturbances returned. Once again, he woke up to a strange noise and left bed to investigate, expecting another false alarm. Instead, he got the scare of his life. Watch.
Shit. This started again. Yalla, go to sleep now. Don't get up. It's almost the same time. Don't know.
What's harder to shake is the pattern. 2 separate nights, and now they've become so used to it, they even have a name for whatever's been in this house. They call it Jerry. And now the 5-year-old son has started asking about Jerry by name. Listen closely.
Oh my god. Ajay? Kya hai ye? It's just near the door.
Daddy, what is it?
Nothing, but I'll just go to sleep now, okay?
Is that Jerry?
I don't know. Just be quiet now.
Hey.
Please, I beg you. Majja. Don't go. Listen to me.
It's okay. Just be quiet.
The scratching is unmistakable, a series of quick taps and scrapes, repeating with that uneven rhythm that's genuinely difficult to attribute to pipes or settling walls. And then the moment the father gets up to check, it stops completely. That detail alone is what gets under people's skin, because an accidental sound doesn't respond to presence. A named entity that a child has come to know casually, that scratches at a door and goes quiet the second someone moves toward it. That's a different kind of unsettling entirely. The 4th clip is silent again, and it documents something more subtle. A lamp with a black and white geometric pattern, filmed on the static security camera in the early hours of the morning, turning on and off by itself in an empty room. Watch.
I just have no words. Let me just show you the video itself. Okay.
When he went back into the room, viewers noticed what appears to be a shadowy figure moving behind him, following his path through the room before disappearing from sight. And then comes what may be the most compelling footage of all. The most extensive footage in this set captures what may be the most direct evidence yet. He's woken up in the night again, this time by the sound of the kitchen tap running. He gets up, finds the tap on, turns it off, and almost immediately hears water running again. The lights in the hallway won't turn on. He notices a child's red scooter near the door that he doesn't remember being there before he slept. And briefly, along a white wall, a faint wispy anomaly rises upward and disappears. Watch.
minutes early today. Okay.
The security camera footage recorded earlier that same night fills in what the first-person view couldn't capture. A dark, translucent shadow figure moves across the living room, pushing the scooter, then walks away as the scooter continues rolling on its own. The figure reappears later, crossing from the hallway into the kitchen, and moments after it enters that space, the sound of the tap turning on begins. That sequence, the figure entering the kitchen, followed immediately by the water, is what a lot of viewers find most difficult to rationalize away. Some believe shadow figures of this kind represent a conscious presence, something with intent rather than residual energy, a distinction that matters because intent implies awareness of the people living there. Others point to the misplaced scooter, the unresponsive light switches, the child who already knows the ghost's name, and suggest that whatever is in this apartment has been making itself comfortable for a while. The family seems to know it. The 5-year-old isn't even scared yet, and that might be the most unnerving detail across all of these clips. Not the blurs, not the lamp, not the shadow pushing a toy across the floor, but the fact that a child has simply accepted it as part of home. Whether this is one presence or several, whether Jerry is a name given to something ancient or something entirely modern, the footage keeps coming, and whatever is in that apartment doesn't appear to be going anywhere. The following clips were both recorded inside what appears to be a large warehouse store, the kind of place that feels completely different after hours, when the shelves are still stocked, but every aisle is empty, and the only sound is the hum of the lights overhead. The man filming had been alone, locked inside a small monitoring room, watching security cameras, when he started hearing something he couldn't explain. He describes it in Spanish. something scratching the walls, coming from somewhere nearby. He insists he doesn't want these things to happen, which tells you this isn't the first time something's felt off in this building. Watch closely.
Raza, estaba yo aquí monitoreando las cámaras en un cuarto encerrado y se escuchó como si alguien estuviera rascando la pared. Ya, no, de verdad, ya no quiero que pasen estas cosas. ¿Qué fue eso? ¿Qué cojones? ¿Qué mierda fue eso?
Two sounds hit him in quick succession, a loud, forceful scraping or thudding against the wall, enough to jolt the camera, and then a sharp knock directly on the metal door. He opens it and steps out into the service corridor, then into the main store, clearly shaken, checking the restroom, checking the hallway, and finding nothing, no one. That alone is unsettling. Some viewers think the sounds are consistent with what's sometimes described as poltergeist activity, not a ghost in the traditional sense, but an energy force said to interact physically with its environment, making contact through noise and impact, rather than appearing visually. Skeptics argue it could be pipes, settling metal, or an animal in the walls, but the knock on the door is harder to dismiss, because it's rhythmic, deliberate, and comes from exactly the right height. He still doesn't have an answer when the second incident happens. This time he's out in the store aisles, pushing his own cart, voice hushed, breathing audible, saying it feels like someone is watching him. Watch.
No sé qué está pasando. Realmente se escuchan ruidos a lo lejos. Está pasando algo muy extraño, no sé qué está pasando. Se siente como si alguien me estuviera observando. No lo sé. No mames.
An empty green shopping cart, sitting completely still in the middle of an aisle stocked with bottled beverages, suddenly rolls forward and to the right on its own, quick, a few feet, then stops. He reacts immediately with a loud, genuine exclamation of shock, and the sound of his own cart wheels rolling fast on the concrete tells you he didn't stick around. What makes this harder to explain is that both events happened in the same building, within what seems like the same shift. Scratching and knocking in the locked room, then a cart moving by itself in an empty aisle. Two separate incidents, two separate forms of physical interaction, and no one else in the building. So what exactly is in that store? This next clip comes from a night investigation inside the ruins of St. Mary's Church in Colston Bassett, Nottinghamshire, a site that traces its origins back to the 12th century and has drawn paranormal investigators for decades, some of whom claim to have encountered demonic activity within its crumbling stone walls. The team is moving through the interior using a handheld camera on night vision, panning slowly across the ancient stonework, when something outside catches the frame. Watch.
Just the same as what it says at the front.
In the right-hand section of a large window opening divided by a central stone pillar, a dark vertical shape appears, moving quickly from right to left, passing behind the pillar and then simply vanishing before it clears the other side. The team insists all members were accounted for at the time. Some viewers think it's residual energy, the kind of repeating imprint that old religious sites are said to hold. Others believe it's something more aware, something that knew the camera was pointed at that window. Either way, it doesn't wait around to be identified. What exactly passed through that window frame? The following video was recorded in the Haunted Hobart, a hotel in Hobart, Australia, with a reputation for paranormal activity. And in October of 2021, a paranormal investigation team set up security cameras inside the building overnight, hoping to capture something they couldn't explain. What they got was 3 separate incidents, all caught on silent CCTV footage, all happening in the early morning hours when the building was completely empty. The man reviewing the footage describes himself as a skeptical person, which makes his reaction to what the cameras caught all the more worth paying attention to. The first 2 events happen at 5:53 a.m. No staff, no guests, nobody in the building. Watch.
A movement right there, and then it proceeds to go like up the stairs, but it could be someone, you know, just walking on the outside on our front porch right there, which is logically what it is, but it almost seems that the camera's kind of bending, and it bends the staircase a little bit, and then right after it goes to the top of the stairs, the hat seems to jump up before it falls off onto the ground and kind of rolls around. It's very weird. It's something I can't explain. Now, even weirder than that is the next day, that same woman came back in and she was wearing the same exact clothes, and which is fine. I'm not judging. Maybe she had some, you know, had a fun night. Maybe got it lucky. You know, she could have stayed somewhere close to here. You know, or maybe she lives there. Who knows? But she. How wacky this is. Like, what is she doing? She seems to be walking weird, and then she's like peeping back in. Like, how long was she out on the porch just like staring in after the video cuts off? It's wild. It was a bizarre thing. I don't know what's up with that lady, but more importantly, I don't know what's up with that hat. That's the most evidence I've seen of something, and I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. It was right in front of me as I'm talking to this woman. It was very weird. I can't explain it. Make up your own mind on what you think, and let me know. Thanks for watching.
From 2 separate camera angles focused on the staircase near the entrance area, a black hat resting on the stair railing suddenly falls to the floor without anyone near it. Moments before the movement, the footage appears to capture something unusual near the front entrance, a faint distortion near the doorway, and what some viewers believe looks like movement crossing near the staircase itself. What makes the clip unsettling is not just the hat falling, but the sequence leading up to it. Investigators reviewing the footage pointed out that the distortion appears seconds before the object moves, almost as if something invisible passed through the area first. But according to the team, the strangest part came the next day. The woman connected to the hat incident reportedly returned to the hotel wearing the exact same clothes she had on the previous night. Staff members later claimed her behavior immediately stood out. For several minutes, she allegedly stood staring silently at a wall without reacting to anyone around her. She then began making bizarre comments to both employees and customers, including repeatedly talking about eating dog food before wandering through the building acting disoriented and suspicious. Paranormal researchers sometimes associate this kind of behavior with locations believed to have lingering spiritual activity, especially in places where repeated reports of apparitions, distortions, or object movement have already been documented. In many cases, investigators describe witnesses becoming unusually fixated, detached, or emotionally altered after experiencing unexplained events inside allegedly haunted environments. Whether the woman's behavior was connected to what the cameras captured remains unknown, but for many viewers, the combination of the distortion near the staircase, the unexplained movement of the hat, and the woman returning the following day behaving strangely has made this one of the more unsettling pieces of footage connected to haunted Hobart. The following clips were both captured by security cameras inside what appears to be the same home, both in the early morning hours and both involve something that seems to be paying very close attention to a sleeping baby. In the first clip, the timestamp reads, just after 1:30 in the morning on March 25th of 2023. The footage is in grayscale night vision, filmed from a high corner angle looking down at a bedroom. A large bed sits in the center of the frame, and to its left, a baby's crib with a small form tucked inside. The room is still. The door to the left of the crib is slightly ajar, and for the first 20 seconds or so, nothing moves. Then it got worse. Watch. The bedroom door slowly begins to move on its own, opening wider before shifting back again, despite no one appearing anywhere near it. But according to the family, this wasn't the only incident. In a second clip, recorded on a separate night in April of 2019, at approximately 5:20 in the morning, another camera positioned directly above a bassinet captures something else entirely. Watch carefully. A teddy bear placed near the baby begins to move on its own. The motion is slow and deliberate, with the toy shifting position while nothing else in the frame appears disturbed. No hands enter the shot. No one approaches the crib. The room remains otherwise completely still. What unsettles many viewers is the pattern between the two recordings. In both clips, the activity centers around the child's sleeping area, almost as if whatever is present is drawn toward the crib itself. Some paranormal researchers point to old stories involving watchers, entities said to linger silently near sleeping children, often first noticed through subtle environmental changes like moving doors, shifting objects, or unexplained sounds during the early hours of the morning. Whether the two incidents are connected is impossible to know. But for many viewers, the idea that both cameras captured unexplained activity centered around the same baby is what makes the footage difficult to forget. In this next clip, a man claims he had finally decided to leave his house after days of experiencing what he described as unbearable activity inside the home. Hoping to get away from whatever had been disturbing him, he temporarily stayed somewhere else. But according to him, the activity didn't stop when he left. It followed him. Watch closely.
Algo está sonando en el cuarto. Creo que es el eco.
While filming inside the room, the man lifts the comforter slightly and points the camera toward the space beneath the bed. For a brief moment, a pair of pale, bare feet can be seen. Skeptics argue that someone could simply have been hiding underneath, a child, a friend, or someone playing a prank. But according to the man filming, when he looked again moments later, there was no one there. What unsettled many viewers even more was the folklore some people connected to the footage afterward. In parts of Latin American paranormal tradition, there are stories of childlike entities said to appear inside homes, often partially hidden beneath beds, in corners, or just outside direct view. Some compared the figure to legends surrounding La Niña de las Sombras, translated loosely as the Shadow Girl, a spirit described in online folklore as appearing silently inside domestic spaces before gradually becoming more aggressive over time. Others connected it to stories associated with La Llorona, where sightings involving children or crying voices are believed to signal a lingering supernatural presence inside the home. But according to the man, the encounter didn't end there. After several more days of disturbances, he decided to place a Bible near the exact spot where he claimed he first saw the feet. Then, during the early hours of the morning, he says he heard a voice telling him to look underneath it, so he started recording again. The same pale feet and lower legs appear beneath the object once more, but this time, the footage captures something else alongside it, a whisper repeating a single word in Spanish, ayuda, which means help. What makes the clip especially disturbing to some viewers is the implication behind the voice. In many paranormal traditions, entities that imitate children are often described as deceptive, using cries for help or weak voices to draw attention and lower fear before escalating activity further. We can only hope that's not the case here. The following clips were recorded inside what appears to be an abandoned commercial space, a former retail unit with unfinished walls, exposed ductwork, and the kind of industrial silence that makes every small sound feel wrong. The man filming had been exploring the location and decided to leave a static camera running in one of the darker rooms, stepping back to let it record on its own. For a stretch, nothing happens, just a faint ambient hum and the stillness of an empty space. Then it got worse. Watch. What you just heard wasn't a single knock or a creak. It was a violent, rapid barrage of metallic crashes and bangs, like heavy metal racks or poles being hurled against a wall in quick succession, all with no visible source anywhere in the frame. The room was empty. No one was there. When he goes back in with a flashlight to investigate, he finds the ceiling torn open near an access hatch, damaged in a way that raises more questions than it answers. Some believe what was captured is consistent with poltergeist-type activity, a term used to describe disturbances characterized not by visual apparitions, but by aggressive, physical, or auditory force, sounds and movement without an obvious agent. The second clip picks up in a similarly dark, confined space, this time a cluttered crawl space or attic area, accessed through a panel in a low ceiling. Watch. If you look closely, something like a human hand is still for a moment before suddenly moving. The reaction from viewers was immediate. Some believe there may have been a person trapped somewhere inside the space. Others think the movement looked unnatural, especially given how motionless the hand remained beforehand. What makes the clip disturbing is the uncertainty. The camera never stays long enough to reveal what the hand is attached to, or whether something was actually hiding deeper inside the crawl space the entire time. Now, in this next clip, a man with no named introduction documents something he found on the wall of his house. A faint, smudgy impression sitting high up on a plain tan wall, shaped unmistakably like a small hand. Watch.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can try and get...
Okay, come over this way.
Okay, because it's like you can't see it, and then suddenly it's there. And there's no way any... Ooh, there's an ant walking across the street. But there is no way anybody could physically get there.
Well, considering you look, and there's the stairs, this thing is 6 feet above the stairway.
Somebody would have to be, okay. And there's a wall here.
Zoom in on me. I mean, look at this, okay? I'm standing on the stairs, for Christ's sakes.
And there's the hand.
You got 8-10 feet.
And you can only see it at certain angles. But there is no way anybody could have gotten that handprint there. It's physically impossible. And it wasn't there a couple days ago.
No, that is screwy. We gotta put that out and ask people about it. I mean, that's just, you can't do that.
I mean, I'm gonna...
And that is the left hand.
Yeah.
That's the left hand, so we're talking
somebody would have
on the stairs, you're looking at...
That... Okay, there's no way.
You're like 15, 20 feet in
Yeah, there is no way somebody... Is it still there?
Yeah, it's still sitting there. I can see it clear as day.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit.
You're talking 15, 20 feet in the air for somebody to put a handprint there.
And we had the place painted recently, but it is not, it was not there. I know it was not there.
So Cricket was sensing something today.
Well, it was weird because she kept freaking out all day.
Yeah.
And then suddenly this thing appears. Wait, come back. 'Cause I want to show. Okay, there's you trying to reach up to where it is. So even if you stood on the stairs, can you move up a little bit? So even if you stood on the stairs, because there's the handprint, you can't reach it. And you're over 6 feet. There's no way. Okay. And Amethyst has been acting really weird today too.
Well, I'm coming down to deal with her.
Okay.
That handprint sits too high for a child to reach casually, and the shape, a distinct palm with finger smudges fanning outward, isn't the kind of thing that just appears on a painted wall without explanation. Some believe impressions like this are residual contact, a spirit pressing through from the other side and leaving a physical trace behind. Others think it could point to a child's presence, which paranormal investigators often describe as among the most emotionally charged and difficult to dismiss. You can see why he kept coming back to it. Whatever left that mark apparently had somewhere to be, right at the top of those stairs. The following videos were all recorded inside the same home, and what makes this collection so hard to dismiss is that it isn't a single isolated moment. It's a pattern, one that appears to be building, and one that seems to respond directly to the people living there. At some point, whoever is filming decided to start talking to whatever was present, addressing it by name, and according to these clips, it started answering back. The first time something happened on camera, she was sitting in the living room at night, a movie playing on the television in the background, a few drinks on the coffee table, nothing unusual about the setting at all. She speaks in a casual, almost playful tone, addressing something she calls Freddy, telling it she doesn't know its real name yet, but that she likes the one they've given it. Watch.
Come on, Freddy. I know we call you Freddy, but we don't know what to call you yet. But we like it. Wowzers.
The moment she finishes speaking, the large glass dish on the coffee table violently flips upside down with a loud crash, knocking over one of the cans and sending its contents spilling across the table. What's striking here isn't just that the dish moved, it's the timing. She addresses Freddy, she finishes her sentence, and then it happens, as if whatever was in that room heard her and responded on cue. Skeptics will say the dish was unstable, sitting at an angle, but the force of the flip is difficult to reconcile with a gradual, physics-based shift. It didn't wobble, it went. Not long after, the activity seemed to pick up. A second person is now in the room, a woman in a leopard print robe, standing near a wooden side table on the far wall, and whoever is filming says plainly, "Don't touch it. You don't have to touch it," as if issuing a warning to something unseen. Watch.
Don't touch it. You don't have to touch it.
Objects don't move like that on their own, so whether it's a true poltergeist or something else, the escalation is hard to ignore. Then she tried something different. Rather than filming reactively, she started making requests, pointing the camera toward the side table with the potted plant and the framed wolf photo. Listen closely.
Come on. Put the light on, put the light on.
Within paranormal circles, it's often claimed that entities interact with telephones, radios, and other electronic devices because they're believed to be easier to influence than heavier objects, using small amounts of electrical energy to produce physical movement. As soon as the footage was posted, many viewers suggested the same explanation: fishing line. It seemed like the most reasonable possibility, until she uploaded another recording. Watch.
Look, the light is on. You can clearly see there is no fishing wire or strings. It's just hovering. Look at that.
This time, the room is brightly lit. She deliberately points out that the lights are on, that there are no strings, no wires, and nothing supporting the object as it appears to hover in plain sight. Some paranormal researchers refer to this as levitation phenomena, one of the rarest and most controversial claims in haunting reports, where an object appears to suspend itself without visible support. Cases like these remain highly disputed because they're also among the easiest to fake. Then the activity spread beyond the furniture. Watch.
Look, 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 look at that!
Until now, she'd been experiencing everything alone, and that left plenty of room for doubt. Even she admitted there were moments when she questioned whether stress, exhaustion, or expectation could be influencing what she thought she was seeing. So instead of keeping the experiences to herself, she invited a close friend over, not to investigate the house, not to perform an experiment, but simply to witness whatever had been happening. She wanted someone with no emotional investment, someone who could tell her she wasn't imagining it. Interestingly, many paranormal investigators claim that alleged hauntings often become more active when fresh witnesses enter the environment. One theory suggests that an intelligent entity may intentionally reveal itself to new people, almost as if trying to validate its existence. Another proposes that the emotional energy of multiple people in the same space provides more energy for physical manifestations, allowing activity to become stronger or more dramatic than when a single person is alone. Whether there's any truth to those ideas remains impossible to prove. But according to the woman, it wasn't long after her friend arrived that the house appeared to respond.
You'll be alright. I'm not lying, the fucking picture is levitating. The fucking hell? You can't see it.
A picture seems to levitate in front of two witnesses, and according to the people living there, all of it centers around the same unseen presence. They call it Freddy. In many paranormal traditions, investigators caution against naming or regularly communicating with an unexplained presence. The belief is that repeated interaction, especially treating it like a personality, may reinforce the experience psychologically or, according to paranormal belief, encourage further activity by giving the phenomenon attention. Whether that's folklore or simply a psychological effect is impossible to verify, but it's a warning that appears across countless haunting accounts. So if something really was responding, The question isn't just why it moved, it's whether it was moving because someone finally started talking to it. In this next clip, a man filming alone in his apartment at night, who starts the video almost like he can't quite believe what's been happening. He mentions the wooden cabinet behind his red and black gaming chair has been rattling all evening, the kind of persistent, aggressive rattling that sounds less like a loose hinge and more like something deliberately pulling on it from the inside. The moment he hits record, it stops, which only makes him more unsettled, not less. He keeps the camera pointed at the hutch and the chair, holding his ground, saying he can hear footsteps even though he's alone in the apartment and his neighbors have already moved out. The rattling starts up again, louder this time, more forceful, like something picking up where it left off. Watch.
Footsteps again. See, this sounds like someone's pulling on it. Hello? Yo. Yo.
What happens next is hard to look away from. The gaming chair, completely unprompted, rotates smoothly to the left in one long, continuous motion while he's watching it in real time. And before he even knows what to say, something else happens.
You do it again? Yo, I'm good on that, man. That thing just tried to pull open again. Alright, you gotta go now. Like, yo, you gotta...
Many paranormal investigators would describe a sequence like this as classic poltergeist behavior. Unlike traditional ghost stories that center on apparitions, alleged poltergeist cases are typically defined by physical disturbances, knocking, furniture moving, objects sliding across floors, and activity that appears to intensify over time. Some theories even suggest these disturbances feed on fear or emotional energy, becoming more active the longer witnesses remain engaged. Others point to an interesting detail. He notices that almost every time the camera briefly loses focus, something else happens. Some paranormal enthusiasts believe unexplained electromagnetic disturbances can interfere with camera autofocus systems before visual or physical phenomena occur. Although there is no scientific evidence confirming such a connection, skeptics, however, offer more conventional explanations. A swivel chair on a smooth floor can rotate under the right conditions, subtle vibrations can cause lightweight objects to shift, and old furniture is notorious for creaking and rattling. Those are all reasonable possibilities. But what many viewers struggle to explain is the timing. The noises stop when he begins recording. They resume when he waits. The chair turns, the organizer slides, the hutch rattles again, and the man filming gradually goes from curious to frightened to simply wanting whatever is in that apartment to leave him alone. Eventually, he makes a decision. Instead of staying to find out what happens next, he walks out of the apartment altogether, and judging by the fear in his voice, he believed something inside was hoping he wouldn't. Now, in this next video, a man is sitting in his backyard in North Lamar on what appears to be an ordinary, overcast afternoon. There's nothing dramatic about the setting. No storm, no heavy wind, just a quiet day that shouldn't be memorable for any reason. Yet something overhead catches his attention. He's filming with his phone, staring up at the sky with an expression that shifts from confusion to genuine disbelief. Watch.
For the love of God, I need help. I got home 2 hours ago, and there's a limb just floating in the air And I've been all over Google. I can't figure out for the life of me what the hell is going on. It's just, hold on. It's just floating there. As far as I zoom in on. But I can't figure it out. It's just floating. Google's like talking about spider webs and all kinds of stupid crap, but it rained here like shortly after I got home, and it's still there. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I just can't figure it out. Right under it. Like, what the? I need help. I done talked to one of my neighbors. He is dumbfounded. I've done thrown stuff at it, and I can't hit it. It just seems like it goes right through it. But what the crap? Look at it. Like, I ain't making nothing up. It's like 20 feet in the air. Maybe 30. I don't know. I ain't good at distance. But it doesn't make sense. Somebody help me. And please, for the love of God, don't let it be them stupid people that we live in a matrix. No, we don't.
Suspended above the rooftops is what appears to be a small tree branch, green leaves still attached, drifting slowly through the air. Not tumbling, not spinning, simply gliding. He follows it with his camera for more than 2 minutes, repeatedly looking around as if expecting to find a kite, a drone, or someone playing a prank. At one point, almost under his breath, he says, "It's literally just a floating branch." The quiet way he says it somehow makes the moment even stranger. Online, viewers quickly divided into 2 camps. Skeptics suggested it could have been suspended beneath a drone using nearly invisible line or lightweight rigging. Others proposed fishing lines stretched between structures, though nothing resembling either is visible in the footage. Paranormal enthusiasts saw something else entirely. Some compared it to reports of apports, a term used in paranormal literature to describe objects that allegedly appear or are displaced without an obvious physical cause. Others linked it to stories of psychokinesis, the controversial idea that an unseen force could influence physical objects, or even elemental spirits from folklore, where branches, leaves, and stones are said to move in unnatural ways as signs of an unseen presence. Of course, none of those explanations have been scientifically verified, but that's exactly why clips like this continue to spark debate. Whatever was keeping that branch suspended, it wasn't falling, it wasn't caught in any obvious current, and for more than 2 minutes, it seemed perfectly content to remain exactly where it shouldn't have been.